People are losing their mind over the new EA College Football 25. We've got first impressions on games like Flintlock and a few others. There's amazing deals going on with the Fire Stick and Microsoft Gamepass since they paired up. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Just Because Gaming. My name is Michael.
And I'm Ray.
And thank you for joining us. And before we jump into it, we just want to make sure that you all smash that subscribe button, whether it be on YouTube or on the podcast, and make sure you comment and like, just so that we can grow this channel so we can start doing giveaways with 50 subscribers on YouTube and 20 subscribers on Patreon. We'll do 2 different giveaways. With that being said, let's just jump into it.
All right. First off, we're going to start off with our impressions on the game Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. Not the easiest thing to say, but it came out here on the 19th of July. I just got a chance to play a couple of hours of it. So far, it's not bad. It's a Konami game. It's got a very, it takes place in like a feudal Japan time period. It's got a very strong Japanese game feel to it, but combat's pretty good. It's all real time, not like turn-based like some of the Final Fantasies and that kind of thing. It's more of an action play game. But you play as the champion of, I guess she's one of the priestesses of the goddess, and this mountain that the goddess's temple is on, has been contaminated by these demon creatures, and you're going through and you're having to clean it up and save it by village by village until you get back to the temple. So far, I think I've cleaned out one village. And it wasn't too bad. It didn't take too long. Just took a little bit to learn the controls and all of that. But it does do a very good job of giving you the step-by-step on how to. But the combat's fun. You when you take the contamination off of villagers, you can set them strategically where you need them to help you fight and protect the priestess, because that's your main goal, is to protect her so she can lift this contamination from, purify the village and get rid of the demon spawn. So it's very colorful. Not a complicated combat system so far. You can upgrade your villagers and that kind of thing so they can fight better or heal or whatever task you set them to. Very, very nice looking game. The graphics were very crisp. It's a very colorful world. All in all, so far, I think I'll probably continue playing it because it looks like a very good game and I'm enjoying it. So
That's cool. Yeah. Speaking about games that people are really enjoying, for the EA College Football 25, like I mentioned, people are losing their mind over it. And I mean, I've known people that are coworkers and friends that are like taking a week off to play it, because one of the reasons why it's such a big deal right now is because, I don't know if you're aware of this, Ray, but it's been about 11 years since the last entry in the EA NCAA, college football series. And that's because some of the backstory is because of NIL, which is name, image, likeness. And, with, the Madden, the football players get, likeness rights. With college football, the argument was, since they were getting scholarships, that was their payment, so they couldn't really claim NIL, and there was this big back and forth. And because of that, EA Sports, for a long time, for 11 years, was like, we're just going to stay out of that. That's too complicated. We don't want to get in all the mess and everything and get sued, because at the time, back in 2013, with the name, image, and likeness rights, there were lawsuits being thrown around, all kinds of stuff. Players were suing over, their likeness rights, and there were good points being made on both sides. On one hand, the players are getting scholarships and money that way, and they're getting education and spotlight so that they can go into the major league, NFL. On the other hand, it's like, okay, well, they are putting their bodies on the line, and, a lot of them might not ever make it into the pro leagues, and this might be as far as they go, so they need some sort of compensation. Long story short, EA did, so for the NCAA, they did reach a ruling saying that players are eligible for name, image, and likeness compensation. and that's why EA College Football 25 is out. Um, Now, they didn't set a certain level or minimum, just saying that players can be compensated. And what EA put out, as I guess to like kind of test the waters, it's not like millions of dollars,
No.
but for the NCAA, they said that they were going to give a flat $600 rate. So all the players that opted in to have their likeness in the game would receive a flat $600 rate for their likeness rights and a copy of the game. Now, like as an adult, Ray, for you and I, it sounds like $600 isn't really a lot of money, but when you
Yeah, but
think
if you
about it,
remember being a college student going,
exactly,
ooh,
that buys a lot of
$600 would
ramen.
go a long ways.
And I mean, when you're in college, yeah, video games, getting a free game of something, hey, that's pretty
Sure.
cool. And out of the entire pool of college athletes, 10,000 of them opted in. So 10,000 of them got that $600 plus a copy of the game. So it adds up to about $700 when you include the copy of the game. Um, Not a terrible deal. Like when you think about it, EA, they're going to be able to make money off the game, even though they're paying $600 to 10,000 people.
Right.
But like when you think about it in Madden level, you know, there, Tom Brady isn't getting paid $600 for his likeness rights, stuff
What?
like that. They get paid, on different scales. So it's not just like a flat $600 rate. But for college students, hey, $600. Apparently, 10,000 of them is like, yeah, I'll take that just for using my likeness, just
Yeah,
for
why
using a
not?
picture.
I mean, it's
If
better than getting the nothing you were getting before.
Yeah, for real. Um, for any of the players that did not opt in, they will just have like generic. Their character will just have generic features and a number. So it might have their same number, but they will not have their name on the back of their jersey. Or at least this is how I've understood it from the articles I've read. They'll be more of like a generic character, without being like so specific to them.
Right.
So, that'll be interesting. And, getting to play as some of our favorite college football teams. Of course, you and I, being from Tallahassee, will probably, want to represent FSU.
Of
But
course.
that's
Of course,
neither here
my
nor
brother,
there.
being an FSU graduate, was very excited to hear about they're going to have Renegade and the spear throw with Osceola and all that, as one of their opening sequences. And supposedly it's very well done. I mean, it looks just like it would be out on the field. So, yeah, he was very excited about that. I can't wait to see it. It sounds interesting too. Do you know if being because you have EA Plus included with your Game Pass Ultimate subscription, so will that be available on Game Pass, you think?
I believe so. I have to double check, but I'm fairly confident that it is because, I mean, unless I'm just imagining it and wishing that it was on Game Pass, I could have
Right?
swore reading that it is included with Game Pass Ultimate, which that's a whole nother story.
Yes, and a whole other story. We'll get to it later on in the show here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially if I can play it on Game Pass. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Another game also on Game Pass currently came out on the 18th of July is Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. This game here I've also played only a couple hours into because they just released these games, which is cool. I've been looking forward to a couple of new games, especially the ones that they have shown in like the Xbox Showcase and stuff to show up. And so far, Flintlock has been a very good game. I like the fact that you can play it on anywhere from a hard level to I'm just wanting to play it for the story level, so you don't have to be the best at combat in this game to still enjoy it. This one here, you're a soldier in the army who is going to. You kind of got left behind by your crew, who's going to take down this magical wall that holds back the gods and the undead. But the undead are seeping through, so you're fighting your way through these undead armies to get to this wall. You blow it up, and now you've released some kind of a god called Unu, I think it was called. It looks kind of like a sphinx-like character, and it kills one of your crew. You get separated, thrown off a cliff into the water, and you're revived and saved by. You wake up in like a cave area with this fox-looking little god. He's a lesser god, he says, called Inky, and he teams up with you. You don't quite trust him at first, but he teams up with you to help you fight the undead and to go and take on these gods that have come back through and try to close this door back up. The combat's pretty good. You've got melee attacks. It has like it'll light up red or something if a unstoppable, unblockable attack is coming at you, but you can stop it with like using your firearm to disrupt them. You can also use Inky's powers. He can like weaken enemies so that you can, one hit melee kill him after he's weakened them. Or if they're armored enemies, it at least takes off the armor so that you can hit them again the next time and take them down. You use them for traversal as well. You can do like what they call black powder jumps and black powder dodges, so you can jump like do a double jump or dodge further away to get away from the bigger enemies. The gameplay, like I said, it's very crisp. It's very good. It controls really well. It's a good looking, well designed looking world. It's so far it doesn't seem very open world like. It's very linear, but the gameplay is good. It's focused on the combat. It's more than the here, let me go search a million different places. But you can kind of search around. I don't know if they're collectibles, but there's like signs, and then there's resources to find, so you can upgrade your weapons and upgrade your character. And there's every time you clean out, it's kind of like Kunitsu-Gami, where if you clean out a village or whatever, then this coffee shop opens up and you can buy equipment and supplies and that kind of thing there. Health potions to heal you back up. It's interesting. So far, like I said, I've only played a couple hours of it, but I'm enjoying it. I think it's something you would probably enjoy too, Mike, because it is an action game.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that we covered during the Xbox Direct, right?
Yes, yeah, it was. Both of those games were in it, and they're both on Game Pass, so it doesn't cost you anything to try it out if you have Game Pass.
Yeah, speaking of which, I did double check, and the College Football 25 is not included on Game Pass, at least not in day one, but there is talk about it joining later on.
Okay, I guess I'll have to wait a little bit just to see if it does, That's just what I have to do. Also, another game on Game Pass that's recently released, not as big a title or anything like that, but probably the one I had the most fun with this past weekend, called Party Animals, where basically you play as this little plushy-looking animal. To start out kind of learning the controls, you're a dog. Like it looks like you're breaking out of this research facility thing, and you're trying to run around. But he's like a drunk stuffed animal running around. It kind of wobbles around, and it's hilarious. And you're trying to, you can smack things, you can headbutt. As you're going through, you can actually pick up items, like a shovel or something to use as weapons. But then you finally, once goes to a little tutorial to teach you how to use the controls and all, and you get out, and it's a multiplayer game, so it comes up with a loading screen and all that for as it searches for a game, and it gives you usually 3 different arenas to choose from. In the football arena, it's just like you would think. It's kind of like Bomb in Halo was, where you're trying to get the football across the goal line on the other side, and you're smacking other animals around, and you're picking up the football, and you can toss it up towards the goal, and then when you get in through the goal, it kind of goes boom and blows up the ball, and then it goes to the next round, and there's usually 5 rounds, and whoever gets the most points in 5 rounds wins. But I haven't even played all the different maps that are possible. There was one with a submarine, where you're all up on a submarine, and the submarine's slowly sinking. And occasionally there are rockets, missiles launching out of the submarine. It'll open up, and if you're over that tube when it does it, it'll fling you off into the water, or it'll shoot you up with the rocket. Best to avoid those. But if you can throw an enemy over that, it gets rid of them. Because the whole point is to get all your enemies out into the water. And if your stamina drops too low, you can't climb back onto the sub. If you're too far away from the sub, eventually you just drown and float off, and then you're just an observer watching everybody else. And the sub's gradually going down. You're basically last king of the hill. You're trying to be the last person on top of the sub. So, I mean, it's just hilarious fun. And if you get whiskey involved, it becomes even more fun. Because me and my brother were playing it. The only downside I had to this game was that you couldn't couch co-op it, which would have been even better if you could have had the 2 of you playing it. Because it's a small enough screen that both of you could be on the same screen at the same time. I wouldn't have to split screen it. Or if there is a way to do it, it did not immediately explain it to me. And I could not figure it out because I tried. But
then again, whiskey was involved.
And whiskey was involved, yes. We were celebrating my brother's birthday, and it was something we decided to do after having drunk for a while. But extremely funny game. Cute enough, that you can play it with your kids, and not, nothing's in there that's gory or anything like that. It might be a little heartbreaking for someone to see these cute little furry animals, fall off into the ice, and if you don't get out of the water soon enough, they freeze solid, and But it's just stuffed animals.
I like that description. It's like drunk stuffed animals. I was like, so kind of like us.
Right.
I'm a big drunk stuffed animal. That's the best. Yep. That's the best way to explain me. And he looks like a drunk stuffed animal. Yeah, right. Sure.
My brother is not like a heavy gamer. He doesn't own a console or anything. And while doing this, I was talking to him about Amazon Prime has for Prime Days has a good deal on the Fire Stick,
Hmm.
and you can get the Fire Stick and a month of Game Pass and the controller. I think right now it's around $68, normally
Yeah, yeah,
109. So
yeah. I did see that, and you know, I think that's a good entry point for a lot of people. Is just say, hey, for basically the price of a controller. Because the controller itself is like 50-60 bucks. So
right,
it's like if you just buy the controller for an Xbox, you can get a Fire Stick, which also streams like I would say arguably that a Fire Stick is probably the best streaming device, as opposed to like the Roku. And I know that's kind of like a controversial hot take because there will be people that are ride or die Roku fans, but
Mhm.
honestly, there's so much available on a Fire Stick, and now throwing Game Pass on there, dude, it's
right,
worth even more. You know,
yeah.
um,
And Fire Stick definitely comes with a better controller than the Roku controllers. I've been through 3 of those already because I have a
yeah.
Roku TV that I've had for a while.
Yeah. And
Uh,
so yeah, I mean basically the deal that's on Amazon right now is you basically pay for a controller and you get a month of Xbox Ultimate and you get the Fire Stick basically included for free, which just the Fire Stick, because I did get them on Prime Day, but the average retail price of the Fire Stick 4K Max is I think like 50 or 60 bucks. So it's like 50 or 60 bucks for the Fire Stick 4K Max, 50 or 60 bucks for the controller, and I think for Game Pass Ultimate, it's like 20 bucks a month. Well, unfortunately now. So all in all, you're looking at it being like around 120, 130, 140 tops, around that range of price for like 60 bucks. So I
yeah.
mean, it's to me, it's a no-brainer.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Um,
um,
the only downside of it, of course, is going to be it only streams the games, so it's only cloud-based gaming.
yeah,
Um, which, if you're not playing like competitive Call of Duty or something like that, from what I hear, is pretty decent. I've watched a few other videos and podcasts and things I've listened to that have talked about it. They've gotten a chance to use it. I haven't been hands-on with it, and they said the first time they used it, it was a little bit laggy and all, and they weren't too impressed with it right away. But it seems like it got better the more times they played. Like maybe, and you do need to have a pretty decent, I imagine, internet service in order
yeah,
to you want to have a good bandwidth in order to cloud stream a game. Um, but other than that, it seems to be working pretty well. So
yeah. And honestly, when it comes to streaming, I mean, yeah, it would make more sense to if you're going to be using the Fire Stick as a streaming device for Game Pass, it would make more sense not to play some of these big like online games. Like if you were going to play Halo, for example, it would make more sense to stream the single player rather than the multiplayer. Just because with the multiplayer, you're going to have so many different environments and so many different characters and stuff.
right,
It's harder for the processor to process all that. Whereas for
right.
like the single player story, everything's already set up. The world is set up, the enemies are set up, their actions and movements are set up. Everything's already done. Whereas like with the online stuff, it's all kind of chaotic. They have to process it on the fly, so it's a lot harder.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
especially if you were to play just a single player game, it would be easier to process that. So
and
um,
you got to figure that the consumer that's buying a Fire Stick and Game Pass on the Fire Stick, these are not your hardcore multiplayer players. These are people that are looking for. These are people that normally play games on their phone, but would
yeah,
like to have something on a bigger screen once in a while, like Party Animals or um, even
Flintlock.
even Halo, but just the campaign, or just Gears of War campaign, or you know those kinds of things. And there's a lot of smaller games, especially some kids games on there that are good for that Fire Stick and for Game Pass. Of course, the
Yeah.
only bad side is Game Pass's price is going up. All right, well that's our show for today, and I hope you got some good information from us. And uh, like and subscribe, and definitely leave some comments. Let us know what you'd like to hear about in our shows, and what other topics you find interesting and might want us to talk about. We always like comments. We try to reply to them whenever we can. Um, Thanks for watching us.
All right. Peace.